Alrighty, guys, we are back in the podcast, and we have a new setup. You guys can't see it. We have a bootleg Sonic over there.
Ricky's not here.
This is Rickdo right
That's
here. This is Ricky.
But they can't see it right now.
Curtis decided he wanted an all-white podcast tonight.
That is definitely not what I wanted.
No, Ricky. It's actually Ricky's anniversary. Guess how long Ricky's been married?
Longer than I've been alive.
20 years.
20 years. Congratulations,
insane.
Ricky.
Yeah.
That's a long time. How long have you been married?
They'll be 19 this year.
19?
I got married a year after Ricky.
Dang.
I'm 16 now.
Shit.
16.
Curtis is 16 years old.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up. All right, well, I just want to go into our first topic. It's going to be collecting too fast can like really ruin your life. And I went on that just because it's like, I feel like most of us get into this thing. It's like we get into a niche or something that we really like. And when we get it, we have to buy everything in that niche or whatever it is. And I just kind of wanted to go on like, what are things that like that you have bought over time that made you collect too fast or spend too much money in a quick amount of time?
I haven't let it ruin my life per se. I definitely have seen it for other people, or I don't know if I would go as far as saying ruining their life. But
No, that was clearly for the title.
Clickbait. God, no. No, but I get it. I have seen people where I'm immediately like, dude, pumping the brakes would be a good idea. Not because it's not fun, not because it's not cool, but because there are situations where people, and we can all say this because we've all been there. We've been in places of great finances and places of bad finances. When you're in those places of great finances, go wild, have fun, do what you can do. If you can buy a collection of every N64 and NES game and still feed the family and go on vacations, own a home, do whatever, great. But when you know someone's struggling and the bank's struggling, it might be the time to push back the plastic.
Yeah. What would you say was like your first thing that you basically were like, I need all of that item? Like it was like, I bought a shirt that was video game related, but I need every single one that correlates with it.
I have such ADD brain. I've done it like 4 times with NES. This is the close. I'm 4 away now. Actually, no, I lied. 3 away.
Do you feel like you don't want to get the last 4 because then it's done?
Yes. Someone the other day in the comments was like, what about stadium events? And I was like, maybe in 15 years. Because I'm like, I almost don't want it to be done.
I have this thing with beating video games. I don't like to beat the video games sometimes because I don't want it to end.
Yeah, you just like to beat other things. I'm just kidding.
That's called edging.
Gooning. I watched the whole video on gooning today.
Don't get to the end.
No. When you said it in our group chat, was so funny earlier. So. Such an inside joke.
I do that. I'm like that with it's kind of like with collecting too, but shirts were for me the one that really took off, like where I went crazy with that. Comics, when I tend to get into things, I go crazy with it. But I was curious with you on that NES set, if like when you got to the last 4, like you just don't want it to stop.
What did suck, and there is no suck about it because I genuinely loved the journey, the way it happened. The fast part of this topic is what makes it so thrilling, and that's why people do it. I get it. Like, I got in such a whirlwind of like, oh my gosh, I almost got the NES set in like 5 months. And it was so much fun and so energetic that now it's still exciting. There's only a few left. Thank you to a fan of the show who just, again, refused to say no, and he's sending me one of the last ones I need. Super cool people. We met him in Florida. But when you hit that peak, it's just like, the gas is let off and you're like, oh man, almost the excitement is like, did I go too fast? Did I blow I'm not going to say blow the load. Sure. Did I blow the lid? Did I blow the lid? Let's go. Did I blow the lid too fast off this? Because it's right. It's like when you meet someone and they're like, I've never seen Jurassic Park. I've never seen Star Wars. I don't know anything about it. And you're almost like jealous. Like, dude, you get to live that moment for the first time. Let me watch, Star Wars with you when you find out who Darth Vader really is. Someone who has no clue, like a kid, right? Or it's like my kids. I've been showing them songs recently that all of us would sing and know every lyric to, but they've never heard. I'm like, I'm so jealous you've never heard this Led Zeppelin song in your life. So for me, it's almost like, I feel like that experience of doing it went so quick. It's kind of sad.
Yeah,
it sucks when they're like collecting, even like in the shirts when it wears off. We're like, I'm not collecting shirts right now. I don't know. I went through all the shirts that I wanted and it was so exciting. I was like, well, look at this video game shirt and this one and this one. Now I feel like I've seen them all. There's very few that I'm like, wow, I need that. Maybe once a year.
Did you go with like any certain like in video games? It's pretty easy to pick like category like NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, peripherals. Was there like a type of shirt or a certain cartoon or series where you're like, I kind of want to go hard on this?
It started off just kind of generally like everything that was cool, and then once I learned more about what was out there, it started to kind of like sub-sector, I guess you would say, where I was like, ooh, I want all the TurboGrafx shirts.
Ren and Stimpy.
Or I went on a Ren and Stimpy kick. Then I went on I want all the Ghost Rider all over shirts. So I started like finding little subsections to collect.
But aren't you at a point now where like the shirts you need are like thousands of dollars or at least over 1K?
I get to in my collecting, like even in comics, I've gotten to that stage where I'm like, okay, now I need a Spider-Man 1 or like a Thor 1, and they're like thousands, tens of thousands
to get
of dollars.
That thrill?
To get the thrill, yeah. It's like it's like a drug.
Like, I got it.
It's like it gets harder and harder to get the high, you know? It's like it's got to be more thrilling. That is one downside of collecting, is that like I almost feel, for me anyway, I need it to be more expensive or more rare, in which it tends to be more pricey to get that, like, oh, that's an amazing item that I got.
I think that's why it's so exciting too, when like in our community where like someone will find something that none of us knew existed. And it's so cool to have that thrill, because like, let's say for NES, like once I get stadium events and the last NWC, I'm like, I'm done. That's it. There is no more thrill. But then randomly out of nowhere, some guy buys a storage unit that was some developers, and he's like, hey, I have an undesigned Mario something. And then that's like thrill that you didn't know you could get anymore. And it's like such a high. It's like a surfer, right? Like when is that? You don't know when that wave is going to come through again. Where it hits and you're like, by the way, I think someone just last week broke the world record of biggest wave ever surfed.
Wasn't that like over? That's got to be over 100 feet.
It was over 100 feet for sure.
Oh,
I can't even imagine what you see a picture of that, but you can't really look it up.
Bro, that's a
see it in
tsunami.
person must be.
I'm curious with Ben, mostly just because I want Ben to say something, because he has a camera on him.
Yeah.
Ben, you're a collector.
Yeah, we got a new setup,
I'm curious Ben's take on it.
Okay, so when I first got back into retro collecting, like 2017, I went crazy because like I was like, oh yeah, I remember this, I remember that, I want these things. And I just kept buying and buying and buying, and probably more than I could afford at the time. But, you know, I eventually got that under control. But I would say the biggest thing is, like, set yourself a budget, because otherwise that could easily get out of hand. I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer, right? But and it's really hard because you get excited. And, like, I feel like it was before retro really blew up. And so you could get the deals, man. Like, I used to be on Mercari, and I would just do a general search video games, and I would just sit there. I guess it was maybe boredom too or something.
No, I still do that with you. Yeah, like I have saved searches, and I'm always looking for that, like that next wheel.
But like, I definitely have gotten it all under control. I mean, I still buy stuff I don't really need, but you know, I'm not as bad as I used to be. So,
what would you say what you're typically looking for now that you've completed your entire MVS set?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, the Neo Geo was really just like one set out of many that I want to collect all of them for. You know, so I have 3 full sets, by the way. So the first one was the PS Vita, which not a lot of people really enjoy.
Totally.
Totally. I felt like it was very unique because it was like the first cartridge-based system that Sony ever did, right? Like, and they may never do another one like that again. So
I didn't actually put that in perspective. Yeah,
you sometimes think PSP, but it's disc, the little mini discs.
I hate those. World's worst.
They're the worst
discs.
Seriously, they are the worst.
What's the other one?
Virtual Boy, but I mean that's super easy. 14 games. And then Neo Geo.
You have a Jack Bros?
Well, actually,
I do have a Jack Bros.
He has 4 sets, but he doesn't want to say the other one. It's the Hyper.
Oh yeah,
Hyper X, Hyperscan.
No, it's very obscure.
So SNK created the Hyper Neo Geo 64 after the MVS and AES excitement started to die down, and they only made, I think, 6 games.
Oh, okay. So you got them.
So I got them all. You need special motherboards and like cabinets to actually play them. So I could only play.
They're ginormous.
There's 4 fighting games, and I could play those. But like, there's a shooter. And then 2 racers. Yeah. 3 fighting games, 1 shooter, and 2 racers. And I can only play the fighting games.
Hey, can I go totally off topic? But since we're talking about fighting games,
108 foot wave.
That's crazy.
108. That's a tsunami. I'm telling you. Like
That's Point Break right there, man.
That's insane.
I get
dude.
nervous when the
That's
king.
like the one. I know. That's what I was thinking
you
of. Point
fall.
Break.
You. I don't think people who haven't surfed know how heavy. I mean, think when you carry a bucket full of water, how heavy that is. I mean, I've had, at the wedge, probably the biggest wave I've ever been on, a 17-foot wave collapse on
And
you.
that's
You
huge.
feel like a building dropped on you. You feel like the air's gone immediately from you. Like, I'm dead. I'm dying. That force. So I can't imagine 108 feet of power behind you.
Where was it? Hawaii, Australia?
Mine?
No, that one.
Oh, I
The
think it was
100
Mavericks.
Where's that?
Ricky's son's. His son's name is Maverick.
Probably Portugal. That's
I'm just want to see
usually-
where it is. I want to make
I
sure
would say
before.
Australia, maybe.
Nah, Portugal is this like weird spot.
So how do they even measure the height of the wave, by the way?
Dude,
Probably
they
just
got
the
drones or
picture and
something.
then
I'm
the
sure-
person.
Okay, there's technology, right?
Like if the dude is right there, you could use that as a reference and
okay.
say like he's X
You
amount.
just see an ant and you're like,
He looks like an ant in the wave.
oh yeah, no, that's seriously a tsunami.
Jeez, it was at Mavericks, which is a Pillar Point, Princeton, Half Moon Bay in California.
Oh, it's in
Oh, it was here. It
California.
was California.
That's a real thing. I didn't think we had waves that
So
low.
where's Half Moon Bay? North of here?
It's got to be somewhere up that way.
My mind's blown.
No, that's crazy.
What were you gonna say about
Oh, I was
fighting
just we were
games?
talking about SNK and fighting games, and
Yeah.
we're doing a pretty cool thing this Friday,
Sure are.
which is 2 days from now.
Yep.
We're going to demo the new Fatal Fury game. We got
Yep.
an invite from
Evo.
Evo hooked us up with an invite
Evo
direct
peeps.
from SNK.
Yeah, man.
To go demo the new Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, I think it's called.
Yes.
Pretty excited.
We're kind of cool.
I know, it's pretty awesome. So we're going up to LA to do that.
Yeah, it was just cool that they even invited us to their awards, their first.
Yeah, we're
awards.
doing the awards ceremony with Evo on Saturday, but this is it's an actual legit, like we will be the first people to play that game.
That's kind of amazing, actually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big SNK fan, so
Yeah,
figured
I
we'd
mean,
mention that.
So is Ricky.
don't know what to say, really. I mean, it's an honor and it's exciting,
Yep.
and I hope we get to take some pictures and videos and stuff like that.
What if we're like, dang, this gang sucks?
I mean, you have to know that happens.
Clip it.
That happens, right? I mean, imagine you're an influencer or whatever, and you get invited to go play whatever Concord that game, and you're like, oh god, you just know. You're like, F. Like,
Yeah.
how do
Gotta
I-
keep the smile going.
and you're just
Oh, this
you're
game's great.
just praying one of the guys doesn't walk over and go, how'd you like it? And you're like, oh,
Do you-
God.
yeah,
I would guess that they're probably going to come ask us our opinion and how did it go. They're going to be watching us playing it.
Do
They're going to
you-
be filming us playing it probably.
Are you gonna give them real feedback?
Yeah.
Why not?
I think you have to.
I would.
I think it's
would.
the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, like even like back in the day, like when they made us like beta testers on like consoles and stuff like that for like games that were coming out, like you got the early access, like you wanted to like have it in those forums, like dude, this sucks, like we want something different, and like have them adjust to.
Right.
Well, most
player
people that are
base.
doing anything, creating something, they want negative feedback. I had it one this morning, meetings with Encore with the owners, and they're like, give us enough good feedback. Tell us the bad feedback.
Well, they don't want the bad feedback. I mean, they want the honest feedback.
Well, they want to know
Yeah.
what are the things that any random person can gripe about so that they can fix it.
Fix it. Yeah. You
And
need to
that's
be able to fix
what's
it.
good.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Now, like, how would you? Okay, now back onto the topic of collecting. How would you like suggest to somebody that wants to get into collecting and they get like really quick into it and start spending a lot of money? Like, what is your advice to them? Like, maybe like only budget, or like should they approach
say-
it at a different?
Buy everything.
That's literally what happened to
From
me.
retro games.
It was like when I first got into collecting, it was like everything Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like I
Yeah, I
had to have every little thing. And then I realized like maybe a year later, I went on like these Facebook groups and I was like, oh, there's a whole different type of ball game when it comes to collecting. Like
Yeah.
there's people that spend
I'd say
thousands.
start yourself with small subsets that can't go too crazy, right? You don't have to say I'm collecting a full set of NES games. Say I'm going to collect every Konami game, right? And within means. And everything. And if I buy it, it has to be 15% lower than price charting. Like set yourself like barriers and boundaries to where you don't find yourself to go crazy. Because again, I'm not that person. I have the opposite brain. I didn't think I was going to go crazy, but I go to a convention and I'm like, I'll buy 80 games. Like, great,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go for everybody. So,
You know, I've been actually like enjoying watching in like the YouTube space about this is JRPG Life.
yeah.
And they're
just
kind of
talking to him 2 minutes before the podcast.
Dan and Lisa, and both of them, like, they're talking about how to find great games for a budget.
Yep.
You know, and you know, if that's something that you are into or like want to better get into collecting, they kind of do it right.
We just locked them in. That's why I was talking to them as guests
nice.
for SoCal Gaming Expo.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
Let's go.
Now,
June 6th, 7th, 8th, SoCal Retro Gaming Expo.com.
Thank goodness I have to plug it.
If you don't, I was at church this weekend. I heard my pastor say, if you don't go, you're probably going to go to hell.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, when I get into like a new thing that I am thinking about collecting, I try to go in and learn the community a little bit. Is a good piece of advice. Like the video game, is it vintage video game? Maybe just original video game art, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is like beyond big boy collecting.
I was going to say, that's what you're telling people to go into?
No, this is me when I went into it.
like when
I was
he was like,
I want to get into collecting this.
He was like, I don't want any of the small stuff. I want to go big now because I need the
this
thrill.
is where like this is being my advice. So I wanted to get into that. Like when you get into that, that's like almost as high level as it gets. Like a lot of these art pieces are 10, 20, 30,
Oh, yeah.
$50,000. So like I would say the wrong thing for me to do would have been like hop in there, don't know anything about what I'm doing, be like, oh, I'll drop 50K on this and know nothing. And then later be like, oh, that was like the worst thing you could have bought.
Yeah.
So I went in, I dipped my toes. I like to see what the community is doing in there, listen to like what they're talking about, get to see, you know, maybe have a few messages with some people. I ended up buying one piece, which was the cover of Concrete Jungle Predator.
Yeah.
Concrete Jungle,
Yep.
I think it is, on PS2. So I bought like the original artwork from that. Which was like $700 or something like that. So it was cool to just dip my toe in. And then I kind of was like, maybe this one's not for me to collect this because it's just so expensive.
Oh, dude.
It's just
yeah.
ridiculous. And I didn't want to go that down into the
I still
rabbit
have never
hole.
gotten into the art scene, not because I don't love it. I love art, if anything. Actually, I watched the whole documentary about Ren and Stimpy and
Did you?
their artwork. It's on Tubi. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Don't.
I have
No?
one
Don't
of
watch
the
Why?
It'll make you not like Ren and Stimpy.
Really?
Yeah.
Now he's gonna watch it. For
Everybody who worked on Ren and Stimpy they all know it's tainted and they all struggle with it.
from the creator.
Their creator
Yeah.
pretty much was a pedophile.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah,
And he
yeah.
was like
know that.
everybody's best buddy.
Not the voices.
The voice of Ren is the artist.
Oh, really?
So he was Ren is insane. When you watch Ren and Stimpy, Ren is a dick. He's crazy. He
crazy.
screams. His voice acting is. They went through so many voice actors, and the guy who drew Ren, who came up with him, Ren and Stimpy both, he couldn't find someone who's crazy enough. So he said, "Screw it." The network was like, "You're crazy."
Wait, is this Billy West?
No, the main guy. I can't remember his name.
Because who's the Billy? We were looking at having Billy West potentially as.
Whoever the main. I mean, it's like Johnson. It's literally the main. He created Ren and Stimpy. He's the voice of
Because
Ren.
I thought this guy Billy West. I think it was Billy West was the guy.
He might have been one of the artists.
I thought he was the voice of Ren and Stimpy.
He might have been Stimpy.
Oh, maybe he's just Stimpy. Maybe
Yeah,
he's
because
not
Ren
Ren.
is the creator.
His name's John Crick.
Yep.
Falslu.
Yeah.
He's the voice of Ren.
Yeah, and he's
the creator.
Yeah.
And is his personality like Ren too?
100%.
Oh, so he almost created Ren like
He's a
after
nut.
him.
He's a nut.
Dang,
But he
really?
also seemed like everybody loved him. Like he was like so wild, but also just a crazy person.
Well,
so-
but
I know,
basically
I do
came out in the
wanna
end that he was like a pedophile.
I have some of the.
don't. That's the worst.
I know. I was like, no.
Really?
That's
No.
like the movie Jeepers Creepers. I used to love that movie, and then I found
love
out
that movie. Don't not what's his name? Not the main actor.
no. Who's the very famous guy?
Look at Chris's just face.
Not
like
the main
he's-
actor
he's
in
losing
Jeepers
blood.
Creepers.
Scorsese? Is it Martin Scorsese?
Oh, the director.
It might be him.
But who's the kid that's in Jeepers
No,
Creepers?
not the actors.
Yeah, what's okay?
The like creators.
I don't know. I don't want to.
All right, yeah.
I don't want
Because
to get
that
going
dude,
down
the
the
main
rabbit hole.
character in that, who I love, I forget his name right now.
Yeah, I don't want to just throw out random people's names as being a pedophile.
Bro,
He's from Connecticut and he's
bro's
came into my
just
store.
spitting out the largest director in the.
Chris is like, stop ruining my favorite.
No, I think
movies."
Scorsese
That's a huge name. In
is no. I think he's one of the biggest scumbugs.
Okay.
I think I found out he like some kid like went to prison for ratting on someone because he was molested, and he ended up like telling the kid like don't ruin a good thing like for it was something wild. But
All rumors.
Google it.
All rumors. Yeah.
Yeah, all rumors.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Sorry, Chris, to break it to you. The Ren and Stimpy one wasn't rumors.
Oh, jeez, man, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's so disheartening. Dang.
Well, it's called Happy Happy Joy Joy on Tubi.
And honestly, between from watching Ren and Stimpy, Ren is my favorite character.
Yeah,
by far.
he's amazing.
He's amazing. I mean, I like Stimpy too, but it's the character of Ren
Absolutely.
that I absolutely love.
I bought from one of the artists that one of their lockers came up on Whatnot. It wasn't John, but it was one of the drawing people. Like they actually did the sketches and all that. I have complete sets for some of it, for some of the episodes of Ren and Stimpy. Yeah.
Dusty had one, which was just those napkins.
Yeah,
and I bought the Stimpy. There was a drawing of Stimpy from the original artist on a napkin. That I bought
it is an
for
iconic
$100
show.
for a napkin.
I always say you have to separate yourself from any media that you love, because we love Mario Brothers. Someone that somewhere worked on something is going to have problems.
Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Don't ever talk bad about Paul Rubens.
I like how you say that.
That guy was pretty legendary, even though what
but there's
he did,
a lot.
right?
I don't think it's alleged with Paul Rubin. I'm pretty
What, the masturbating?
Well, there was that, but I think there was
Nickelodeon
even
stuff,
worse that's come out recently. That's just rumor.
Oh, I don't even want to know. Don't tell me.
I think there's stuff
we get
I heard
down
about
this
that
rabbit hole?
Don't tell me.
recently.
How do we get down
I
this
love
rabbit hole?
Paul Rubens. Don't tell me.
How do we get
Speaking
down
of
this road?
dark,
Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it was just that he was.
Collectors were right about resellers.
talk about resellers another day, bro.
No, I mean, there is a fine line between the collecting community and the reselling community.
Trying to get all serious. Shut up, Curtis.
Bro, I was just trying to, but what are ways of if you are a reseller, how do you treat the community and
Like garbage. Like dollar bills.
No, I know you don't believe that at all. But you could say that there could be things like price gouging, or there could be things just not giving the community back, giving back to the community in a certain aspect. What do you say that are benefits for you, what you give back to the community, and you can resell and all that stuff at the same time?
As a reseller?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a way we get to put in the work, and luckily we love the work. Yeah. I love the work of going to the swap meet. I love the hunt. I can keep what I want and display it on my walls, and everything I don't want can go back into the community, right? And some people look at that as a bad thing, but I think it's repurposing things that 60% of what I find probably wouldn't have been found. There's so much stuff that just gets put into the gutter ball of the swap meet where people aren't really digging. I see people hunt, and we've said before, we see people. There's a reason people are like, oh, it's you guys. You guys always have stuff in your carts, because we don't walk by booths like this.
Now, me and Chris talked about this the other day, I don't know, a couple days ago, and we were talking about how you and Ricky actually give back to the community is through YouTube. Really,
your content is your
content
give back. Your
is
humor,
huge.
content, things for people to watch.
You create an escape for so many people out there. You don't even realize that that work, you put money into it, and you're like, yes, I gotta keep putting out content, but that's an escape for other people too. Yeah, a lot of people don't see that. But also Chris, he's been in the reselling industry, and he's had to play a fine line, and he's said in ways, you can speak for yourself, but
I mean, originally I was just viewed as dirty reseller, but it was still probably
that's
maybe in some circles.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
But even this, the podcast is giving back, right? You're doing stuff I don't make any money off.
Yeah,
this.
we're doing it.
Don't do this.
We lose money. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
and time from our families and stuff.
And the expos have always been a labor of love. I think it took me. I never had a YouTube channel, but and even all the community events and the trade events we do at the store, and a lot of stores do that. A lot of the resellers, they again do trade events, community events. All sorts of stuff. They're providing a place for us as a community.
All of it is so community driven. I think I always say this before. I think what separates channels like ours and the Retro Ricks and JRPG Lives and stuff from a lot of YouTube content is we're not, let's say, someone sitting at a desk where you never see your people. People know where we are on Saturday.
Yeah, you could find us.
We've met thousands of people at this point who watch the show because we're out and about. So our stuff is very community driven.
And we
give
our number out to everyone. That's the problem.
Yeah, come to the swap meet. Yeah, come and get our phone number.
Yeah, but that you're right. We are out there every Saturday.
The people, the conventions, and we're always doing things. It's not we're just that guy that you see behind a desk on YouTube that you'll probably never see in real life. It's community is what keeps us running.
Yeah, like, and a lot of people don't see that, right? They don't see that we are huge collectors, but they're like, oh, now you're promoting another resell thing. But it's like, you are also
Well, and it's another way for them to buy stuff.
Yeah, right. Like, you're also helping their collection, and you're going to be in turn helping your own collection. Like, Chris has a ginormous, awesome collection that no one ever really gets to see.
Yeah.
I don't even get to see it.
It's like Ben.
Yeah, like
In storage.
You know what? It's good because
Ben,
I don't
too,
see
has
it
a
all the
huge-
time. Like you have a big wall there, so you're seeing all the time. When I take my collection out and I'm like, don't even remember what I have. You guys have probably seen it like the retro Rick video.
I will
Like, what
say-
the heck did I collect? I don't remember this.
There's never been a time since I've built this wall to where every time I walk in, I'm like,
yeah.
like I always smile.
Oh, you do?
And it's interesting.
awesome.
I never did before when I wasn't collecting with purpose. When I was collecting at random, willy-nilly, grab this Genesis game, this game, hold on. I never felt that way. When I'd walk in, I'm like, oh, it looks cool. But when I walk in now, I feel like because there's so much purpose behind it, I'm always like, yeah.
You know what I like is that like each one has pretty much its own story with each episode in the YouTube
Totally.
now. Like now
Yeah, the
that
journey's online forever.
Yeah, and like you could go back and like rewatch all that stuff. Like a lot of the times, like I'm just buying, but like I don't know what I want to keep until like maybe months later when I get to it.
I'm gonna have some things in the works, and if one of these goes through, I'll have a lot more space, and I'm excited to be able to display stuff.
Good.
Like my house here in California, we have very small houses. They're small
Yeah,
houses.
yeah, no,
we
you're
don't have a
right,
lot
yeah.
of room for like game rooms and basements and
Yep.
stuff, and so like I don't have a good way to display a lot of stuff. I'm looking forward to maybe having an office and like doing some display stuff.
Yeah, we'll put
and-
up all the bulletproof
There's a
glass
reason
for you.
There's a reason we're in a shed right now.
Yeah, the average single family home out here is like 1.1, 1.2.
Yeah, 1,100 square.
You could-
What you mean that? I thought you meant size.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
but even home.
Yeah.
Go on Zillow right now in my neighborhood and put $1 million range. You'll zero results.
Zero, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
There'll be zero results.
Trust
But
me.
it's $1 million for like 1,100. If you could find something, it's 1,100 square feet. You know,
It's like
1,200
unreal.
square feet.
Fixer upper, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then you know, and then you
we've
know,
been looking.
And 5 people are gonna bid on it.
we're gonna get roasted and be like, well, why don't you just move out of state because it's less expensive? But it's like
Let me tell you why.
industry is not there.
Because you're seeing my life as the people that surround us.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Tough to
that's
move
my
away.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, literally, we see each other like every other day.
Yeah, that is our life.
I had,
Talk
this,
with each
I had
other.
this discussion with my wife literally like last night. And she's like, why don't we just move to North Carolina? I'm like, I don't want to manage more stores from other states. She's like, you can do it. It's easy. I'm like, it's not that easy.
Whenever my wife says something, I'm like, all right, you go do it.
Yeah. And she was just like, come on, it's easy.
Dude,
no
I
problem.
feel like that
I'm what?
move,
No,
that move would be so stressful.
Now I'm planning 2 expos from other states. and
Yeah.
managing stores.
But you added an awesome team, and guess what, guys? We have SoCal June 6th through the
7th, and 8th.
8th, yes. And then you also have Retro World Expo with the new owners, Ricky and Riff.
September 12th, 13th, 14th.
Ricky,
Yep,
what do you think
just
about
got the
that?
dates. Yep.
Ricky, what do you think about that?
Sounds about like every other podcast episode.